Hobby quick hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman. Hello everybody, welcome to episode 194 of Hobby Quick Hits. Today's topic, I titled the episode Regrets. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but I get asked sometimes, whether it be at a show or even via DM, for as long as you've been doing this, John, would you do anything differently, or did you make any mistakes, or things if you could go back again? And there's things I regrets. I'm really, proud of my hobby journey, if you will, if I can be so bold. But, there's a few things I'd like mulligans on. I don't know if regrets maybe is the right word, but things I would do differently. And so that's what this episode is going to entail is what would have I changed if, that DeLorean, as I always say, was real, and I could go back and tell myself, hey, do this and not this, or do this in addition to, or that sort of thing, what I would do differently. And so it's a question I get asked every so often, so I figured I'd put it together in this episode. So with that being said, let's get the show started.
Okay, now a quick word from our great sponsor, followed by the new product release schedule. Then we'll go around the Hobbyverse to tell you all the latest hobby happenings and news. Then we'll tackle today's topic of discussion.
Hi, this is Pat Hughes, Cubs announcer, coming to you from the Sports Card Shop in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. The Gocher family has built an incredible place here for collectors to buy, sell, and trade cards and memorabilia. Be sure to stop by and let them show you around. TheSportsCardShop.com, connecting sports, athletes, the hobby, and collectors around the world.
Hi, this is Alan Pinkett, and I'm here to tell you the Gocher family has done it again. They've just opened up the Sport Card Shop in downtown Valparaiso, Indiana, and it is awesome. If you're a collector, you need to check this place out. Tell them Alan sent you and get a free gift on your first visit.
All right, I'll be doing the new releases for the next couple weeks right here, so here we go. On the 18th, Decision 2024, trading cards. Same day, this is all December 18th, a week before Christmas. 2024, Leaf Marilyn Monroe Icons Collection. 2024, Panini Mosaic Football No Huddle. 2024, Panini Prism Football Hobby. Star Trek Discovery Season 5. 2024, Topps Graphite Tennis. 2024-25 Topps UEFA Club Competition Soccer Hobby and Blaster. 2024 Upper Deck Fleer Retro Looney Tunes. 2024 Upper Deck Fleer Ultra Matriarchs of Marvel. And closing out the 18th, 2023-24 Upper Deck Parkhurst Champions Hockey. The 19th, 2024 Topps Triple Treads Baseball. The 20th, 2023-24 Panini One Basketball. 2024 Panini Prism Baseball. 2024 Panini Prism Collegiate Draft Football. Staying on the 20th, 2024 Pro Set Pure Football. And the Plus Pro Set. 24th of December, Christmas Eve, 2024, Leaf Heroes and Prospects Football Hobby and Jumbos. Going to the 27th, 2024, Leaf Collective Multisport and the Solo Edition and Hobby and Blasters. 2024, Panini Absolute Football. 2024 Panini Mosaic Football. Staying on the 27, 23, 24, Topps Cosmic Chrome Basketball 2024 Upper Deck Professional Women's Hockey League. On the 30th, 2024, Upper Deck Marvel Spider-Man Renditions. Closing out the year on New Year's Eve, 2024 Leaf Elvis Presley Icons Collection and 2023-24 Panini National Treasures Basketball. And that is what's scheduled for the rest of the year. A lot of releases on the 18th and the 20th here, just in time for Christmas. So as I always say, choose your weapon. Happy ripping.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
And find out. All right, let's start with the 1916 Morehouse Baking Babe Ruth. At this point, only one in existence. There's 90 cards in total in circulation from this very unknown set of cards that were used as sort of redemptions. Many of them will have canceled stamped on the back of them. But Babe Ruth, that was graded 3.5 by PSA, just sold at REA auctions for $812,000, and you can go to Sports Collectors Daily to hear the story about it. But interesting find through kind of a yard sale, if you will. But pretty obscure set, and really only Mantle in existence. And as you say, well, why didn't it bring 7 figures? And I'm only guessing is I think people don't know a little about it. There's a little trepidation there. But $812,000 is nothing to scarf at. So almost $1 million right there. So congratulations to the seller and the buyer. It's being called a Babe Ruth rookie card. Matt Sundin, Swedish hockey player. If you collected hockey cards in the 90s, you will remember Matt's. And he just signed a exclusive autograph deal with Upper Deck. So he'll be on the Upper Deck side of, if you want any Matt Sundin autographs, you'll have to look at getting them through Upper Deck products. Mantle, the online collecting community platform that I am active on. Big news there. They just got a new app, iOS and Android both. I'm an Android guy, so love using the app. It's just easier, accessible, and no matter what you collect, from cards to watches to whatever it might be, there's a community on that app. I had Evan Parker, the CEO. Just spoke with him. Look for that 2-part interview coming up in a few weeks on Sports Card Nation, where we talk about the app and other things, including the hobby there. PSA has announced they are doing, they're streamlining. You can go put your cards from PSA right onto eBay. And that's whether they're in the vault or you've just submitted them for grading. So once the grades come back, you have a choice to list them on eBay and then have them go into the vault. If you have cards in their vault already, you can add them to eBay as well. Let's talk about, it's not a news segment, right? We don't talk about a crime, or at least it feels like that when we do these. Dateline, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Walmart. A gentleman, I'm not going to mention his name. I don't want to give any kind of shine to committing criminal activity, but this gentleman went into Walmart. He loaded up his shopping cart with about $560 worth of, product, blasters. Went through the self-checkout acting like he was paying for it, put them in bags, and left the store. Their in-house security, which was an off-duty police officer, was onto him right away, followed him out of the store, He ran back into the store, actually ran over a customer. I believe they were slightly injured. He was apprehended, handcuffed behind his back, and put into a squad car. The officer went back into the store. I don't know the reasoning. And the next thing he noticed was his squad car, being driven by the suspect. So the suspect somehow got his hands over to the front. He was still handcuffed, climbed through the back window of the squad car into the front seat. I'm assuming the officer left his keys in the car. Keystone Cops here. And went on a wild chase. The police chased him. He wound up hitting a few vehicles and then flipping the squad car. Obviously, he got out of the squad car, tried to run while still being handcuffed, and was apprehended. So, all over $560 worth of blaster boxes.
Holy cow, I don't believe it.
So there you go. Crime does not pay. The National, it sounds crazy, but it's approaching. We are, again, about 7 months away. Tickets are now on sale at the National's website, which I believe is nscc.com. But if you type that, I'm sure it will come up as well. And we'll kind of close with this story. We all know about these debut patches that Topps are doing, where they take that debut patch off the uniform, make a card out of it. It's either in the pack as that or redemption. They made, just so you know, I didn't realize they actually made this many. They made 251 of them, and at this time, only 3 that we know of have come to light. Now, someone could have one and just didn't advertise it, but 3 we know have seen the light of day. Wyatt Langford, Jackson Holliday, and Churios, the Milwaukee young star. So just 3 that we know for sure, but again, there may be others out there that just no one kind of said that they pulled it. But, some big ones still haven't seen the light of day, with the big one being Paul Skeens. So happy ripping and good luck pulling one of the 248 remaining there.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right. So I'm entitled this episode the Regrets episode. I'm going to talk about some things in the 40 years I've been in the hobby, my store days, my show days, current days. I don't like the word regrets, because I really am happy where I am at this stage of my life and where I am hobby-wise. Do I have every card I ever want? Not even close. So it's not about that, right? We can't get everything we want. And so I don't like the word regrets, but, would I do something differently? And I get asked that question by people who know me and know how long I've been, collecting cards and selling cards. And I get that question every so often. Hey, what would you do differently, John? Or if you could go back and change something, what would you do? And so that's more the angle of where this episode's coming from, rather than regrets. I know I titled it Regrets, but it's more, hey, hindsight being 2020, what would you do? And so that's what I'm going to cover, and I'm going to start to finish and try to do it sort of in order. I'm sure I'll go a little bit out of order, but again, no complaints. I really am enjoying where I'm at hobby-wise, outside the hobby-wise, and that sort of thing. But, going back to when I started as a little kid in 1979, right? It had nothing to do with finances or financial, right? We were trading them, putting rubber bands around them, throwing them around, beating them up. So, I wish I would have probably took better care right from the start, but, that's what we did. So, again, that's not a regret. It's just hindsight being 2020. The other thing, I started in 1979 with 79 Topps baseball. Some people would probably consider that year now vintage. I don't, obviously then it was current. But I did start buying cards earlier than the year we were in. But I didn't, even as a younger person who started doing shows at 15, I wish I had bought more vintage than I did, and different types of vintage. And I did buy vintage or earlier year cards, but I wish I would have did more of it. And I wish I would have did more kind of targeted buying. A lot of I'm a Jackie Robinson guys, and I have some. I don't have every Jackie Robinson. I wish then, and now we know, the Jackie Robinson card is even in low grade condition is going to be kind of costly. So I wish I had bought even more Jackies than I did earlier, including, I've told the story of the Leaf rookie and waiting too long and kicking the can down the road a couple times, and would love to have a mulligan there. I guess that would probably be definitely a regret because I'm glad I have it, but it cost me a little bit more than it would have had I bought it earlier. So I would say that with a lot of the Jackies, right, and some that I have and some that I still don't. It would have been nice to, have a little more foresight there. One of the, someone says, well, why didn't you buy as many? And that's a good question. And I answer it like this. At the time when I really started to buy Jackies, I was already on the show circuit. I already had thoughts of eventually opening the store, which I did at age 20. And so whenever, even to this day, right, whenever you buy, and if you're a seller or someone that sells cards, I'm not even talking about like a dealer, but someone that sells cards on eBay, anytime you buy a PC card, that's a one-way transaction, right? You're gonna buy whatever you spend, 3 figures, 2 figures, 4 figures, and that's going into your PC, and it's a one-way transaction. Could you always sell it? Sure. Does it always have some kind of liquidity or value? Sure. But when you're buying a PC card, you're not thinking about selling, and that's the great thing. That's why it's awesome to have a PC. But because of that, I was a little bit maybe hesitant or reluctant to buy a lot of Jackie Robinson because I knew, I was going to buy it and then it would never, be sold again. So it probably cost me some buying opportunities, if you will, with that being said. So, yeah, I would love to probably be would have been a little more proactive buying some Jackie Robinsons early on, right? Going ahead to the store days, again, so buying more vintage, buying more Jackie, buying more targeted vintage, which I did all right. I'm not crying about it, but knowing what we know now, right? The old, if I knew then what I knew now, kind of line there. But when I got into the store, age 20 was the first year of the store. I did it for 6 years, so from age 20 to 26, I had a partner, and I owned my own store with my partner Angelo. And Angelo was great he didn't get attached to anything. So he didn't really, if memory serves right, he didn't PC a lot, maybe some Yankees. He was a Yankee fan at that time, where I was a Met guy. But he really, everything was for sale. One of the things I did was I got attached to certain cards, and so certain things I didn't put out for sale. And I would remember conversations with Angelo. He'd be like, "John, sell that thing. Like, why are you taking that home, or why are you have that in the back of the store, not out in the showcase?" And there's a lot of those cards now. I'm like, why did I not sell that card? And it would have been more, beneficial to sell it than to hold. And I still hold some stuff back today, even with my show inventory, but not as much as I used to do. So would have loved to have a mulligan there and maybe sell some of those cards that I didn't at the time when I should have. And I think we probably all have similar stories if you've sold cards before, right? I think we all can check that box. Uh, Even more specific. So 93, I'm in New York. I have the store. Young Yankee shortstop prospect. Might have heard of him, Derek Jeter. We opened a lot of SP. We were direct with Upper Deck, so we got our allotment. We also bought some cases from stores in their area that we knew that for whatever reason they it was pricey. I think they got a little nervous about selling them, so we bought a lot of SP sealed wax and we opened a lot of SP sealed wax. And so I've said this before in other podcasts where I was a guest. Over a 2 year period, maybe 2.5 years, from like 93 to 95, and Jeter hadn't really become Derek Jeter yet during those years. Um, I thought he was sort of overrated. Good looking young kid, Yankee shortstop. He's probably going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be great. And so over that 2.5 year, 93 to 95 period, I probably sold 150 SP Jeters, just the foil SP Jeters. Some I pulled out of packs. Many I would buy and then turn around and resell right away. That's a lot of foil Jeters, and I wasn't really into grading at that point yet, but makes me wonder how many of those, would have got a 9 or even a potential 10 for grading. And obviously, when I sold them from 93 to 95, way less than they are worth today as a Hall of Fame baseball player who's become a Yankee legend. I didn't foresee that, and so I was moving them as fast as I can get them. So probably I say about 150. It's definitely well over 100. Is it? Maybe it's 130, 140 of them. But I had plenty of SP Jeters in my day and moved quite a bit of them. Being in New York and having the store, so hindsight being 2020, I would have loved to have held some of those back and kind of sat on them, knowing what we know today about what Derek Jeter became as a player and as a baseball icon. Right, still involved. We still see him on commercials, and I didn't think he was going to be that type of player. So there you go. Also, and it's why I don't do much of it. This particular activity today is I wish I had opened less, and I know that sounds crazy to say, but there's probably one of the most exhilarating or adrenaline rush things you can do hobby wise is open a pack of cards or open a box or open a case. And I've done all three, right? I've opened packs, I've opened boxes, I've opened cases. But what we know, right, even back then and even today, it stands true today. Probably 70-80% of the time you open wax, you're going to lose. It's a losing proposition. You're probably going to spend more than what you get when the dust settles. And it's still fun, but I've told this story on this podcast before. I ran up, at one point I had a $10,000 business credit card bill that was just literally all unopened wax. And obviously I paid that down. But I learned that lesson, right? That, you got to watch what you open here, because that hole, you dig that hole and you're quietly digging that hole. You don't even realize it until you get that bill every month in the mail. And you're like, holy smokes, $5,000? Where is it? And so I dug that 5-figure hole on my business credit card during my heyday. And I still love opening, don't get me wrong. And I get why people open it. I get why people buy into breaks. You don't have to convince me, but you got to be careful when you do that, right? It's kind of gambling. And the odds are in the manufacturer's favor. Just like they say when you go to casino, most casino games are in the house's favor, right? Many will tell you blackjack is probably your best odds, where there's at least some rules and you can the odds are a little bit more in your favor. Well, same thing with wax opening, right? The odds are more in the company's favor, manufacturer's favor, than you. And I learned that lesson with a $10,000 bill, which I'm glad is now gone. And what it taught me to open less, buy singles, buy cards I wanted. I just wish I would have, again, been thinking along those lines a little bit sooner, especially with some of the products I really opened that I know today are not fruitful, if you will. But fun while I was doing it till I had to pay the bill. But again, in closing here, I'll end with that. Is it's no regrets, just some things I would have did differently. I think we all can say that, not just in hobby, but just in life in general. So I know I get asked that question a lot, or sometimes, and I wanted to do, put it on tape, if you will. So there you go, and appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/SportsCardNationPodcast/. Twitter, we are at SportsCardNati1, so it's SportsCard NATI1. Instagram, at SportsCardNationPodcast, or you can email the show, hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.